Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I did receive a comment recently on one of my most recent videos, which if you haven't checked out, it is this alcohol marker ASMR drawing session that I did of Ike Eveland. So if you're interested, please check this out. The comment was talking about doing more of a similar session to that one, but with real-time talking, or like they requested me to speak over, I believe, the video or whatever, so I didn't know how to interpret it. So you guys can let me know what you prefer, and I'll see how I will edit this video down. So I am going to take you along with me, probably for the entire coloring process for today, and I'll see how I will edit down the line art kind of process. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. So I will be using alcohol markers today and my water-based markers for the line art. So to start off, I do have my light pad here because we are going to be transferring my lines. So I do have the sketch. Maybe I'll put the time lapse somewhere right here. But I've been playing a new game called, well, it's not exactly a new game. It's been out for like a year, I believe. And I don't even know how long it's been that I wanted to play this game ever since I kept getting like ads for it. And I love the character designs and the artwork. So the game is called Reverse 1999. If you're interested, go ahead and read the synopsis and the summary about it. But this is one of the main characters and kind of like your partner-ish kind of character in the game. And her name is Soneto. So I kind of wanted to draw her today. And I think her color scheme might be on the easier-ish side for me to color. She has a lot of like white and gray, a little bit of gold, and then very much like orange fiery hair. So I felt it'd be fun to color that today. I did do my sketch digitally, and we are going to be transferring it to Bristol paper. So let me go ahead and grab that. So technically, I do have this kind of little sheet or stack of Bristol paper. So this is the 9x12, but I ran out, and I think the last time I bought this particular set or like stack of paper, it was like in person at like a Michael's or something, but that was like years ago. I finally finished those sheets, so I did end up getting another one. This one is from Amazon. It was a little bit cheaper from the smaller one, from at least like the price comparison that I was doing, so I decided to buy it. And this one is 11x14 by a few inches on each side, but I don't really want to work this large, so we're going to go ahead and cut this down to about half, and then hopefully transfer our sketch lines of Soneto onto this particular paper. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Now I am working at night. Actually, I'm probably going to take off my sweater too. It's getting a little toasty in here, but the lighting might not be the most optimal, but it allows me to record with sound like this a little bit easier without disturbing people. So we'll go ahead, and I believe I measured out about 7x10 was what I wanted to work with. So let's go with maybe 11x7. So let's go to our 7th mark on here. Just gonna cut it down. So now we have 2 identical sheets, and I'll cut one of these down to our size 10. And the good thing about this is that I'll use this little inch to do my swatches maybe. Yeah, I'll try to mark down the colors that I use. If not, I'll mark it in the sketchbook. Okay, so we have our sketch right here. Now technically, usually my paper is smaller than my actual final piece of paper, but because we have kind of the opposite in this case, I am going to be taping the front so that we don't move our sheet around too much. So I'm just going to use painter's tape. Also, the entire idea of doing this like all in real time is mostly to show people like, you know, exactly how long does certain things take, or like the line art process or the coloring process with alcohol markers and stuff. So people can get a better idea versus like doing snippets or time-lapse versions. So because I'm not working at my main desk and we're working kind of like off to the side, I don't have any of my cables, but I think this power bank should do the trick. It has I think a micro USB. So, oh, by the way, so this is the Gaomon Light Pad, or whatever you want to call it, that allows me to transfer my lines from my printed sketch paper to my final paper, and I'm going to ink directly on top. So hopefully this works out. There we go. Should I turn off these lamps? It's a little bit easier. It's terrible for my eyes though, so maybe I won't. But hopefully you can see that the sketch kind of shows through, and I kind of have more or less things aligned onto my paper correctly. No, I think we're good with just taping the two corners. And we'll get our fine liners. Actually, her color palette's actually not too bad. We can probably pick a light brown or even an orange, and then we might have to do line art on top afterwards to darken some things. So fine liners, I am using the dual tip brush pens from Magicfly. So this does have 100 different pens. So let's look up quickly what colors we should use. So this is my notebook that I do a lot of my swatches in. Along with, I keep all of my little test swatches of the colors so that I know what they look like prior to choosing. So she has a lot of white, gray, and orange. I want to use kind of like a lighter reddish brown, because I could go down here and do browns. Maybe this one. Or we can go with like a deeper orange. What did I do for Ike? Kind of like the similar reddish brown that I used. So, could use this one too. So, let's see. Orange might be nice actually, and then we can darken things if we need to. So maybe I'll stick with the orange. I didn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4 from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's this one. Yeah, I think this might work out. If not, we can go darker. So maybe I'll pull out an extra darker, kind of like a reddish color, maybe. So we could do this one. Or darken things up with a brown, which is this one. So I didn't realize I'm probably peaking the mic a lot. Hopefully not too bad now. I might see if I can make the camera focus on this a little bit more while I work and give you guys a little bit more of an optimal view. So on these markers, it does have like a fine liner side. I know this video is going to be like atrociously long, so I probably will cut down this portion. I realize your eyes are a little uneven. It's okay. This is kind of like a test run. So I'm using these water-based markers only because I find that my alcohol markers, which I'm using the Ohuhu brand, does not smudge or smear with this ink, which makes it very much perfect for inking. Because I can play around with the colors. Without having to worry about any of these smudging per se. So I'm putting a little bit of an indication of where the highlight is. Now, unfortunately, I do move the paper a lot when I do inking, so I do apologize about that, but it's to get smoother lines and stuff that's a little bit more consistent. can barely see her nose. Unfortunately, okay, I don't know how to explain this. I do think like real-time talking for these kinds of sessions might work the best other than just the typical ASMR ones. Just because voiceover would definitely like decimate my own voice if I have to talk more than 20-30 minutes probably. So I'm leaving these portions open because the alcohol markers actually layer quite nicely with the water-based markers. Oops, kind of made her highlight a little larger than the other one. The eyes became super uneven. That's okay. So for the liner, I will be trying my best to put some line weight variation in some places. But it's not going to be like a super big priority. Part of it is out of just like normal habit. And then part of it's also me correcting my lines like bit by bit. So technically, if you want to have a little bit more of a clearer image, obviously less thick paper would be more optimal, both for like your final piece alongside with your whatever you printed your sketch onto. Because definitely using something like tracing paper would work a little bit easier. But printer paper still works quite well, and I think more people would have access to it. have to plan out her hair very carefully when I'm coloring it, because I'm going to lose a lot of these lines probably. Actually, I might pull out a very light gray, so I can plan out the little checkered patterns that she has. I think the line art's looking pretty okay so far, other than her eyes, because I didn't realize how botched they would be. So I don't know how long the session's gonna be, because even if I don't cut this down, I'll make sure to leave like little chapters or timestamps so that people can just go to whatever portion that they want to. And I'll try to section off like each portion more or less into their own section. So I'll do skin, then like eyes and the hair, then the clothing. But usually when I work with like alcohol markers or just like coloring in general, I tend to hop around a lot, so I might not be able to keep up with that. I really like her design. She's super cute. And luckily, when I was doing like summoning for the first few like 10 pulls, I was able to get the characters that I wanted. And the reason why I kind of wanted to play the game more anyways. Because I just hope these kinds of like longer sessions, you guys just end up either drawing along or you put these into the background. Because I didn't realize it, because I've been getting more comments about it, is that a lot of you guys put my ASMR videos into the background, but you also play it on like 2x speed, which I find very interesting. Maybe it's because like I prefer long formatted videos. I know not everyone does, so this might be very much hit or miss anyways. But do let me know what your preference is alongside with like editing preference. So like, do you want these to be mostly all real time with minimal cuts? Or just like long video but still condensed in a way? I'll do these in maybe a gold color, so maybe I do have to pick a few more colors out. Because for the patterning. Hopefully I can show it here, but I want to show that her collar is like being pushed up against her face. Because I realized that it kind of matches like the curvature of her chin. So it might look like that it's actually where her face starts and stops, so it might look a little bit uneven. I might be running out of the skin tone that I want to use for her, which might pose a little bit of a problem. But I think I want the light this time to come from the upper right, this way. So hopefully I can keep that in mind. Let's get her hand out of the way. I think both for inking and working with alcohol markers, I get very timid. So hopefully doing more of these will definitely help. But also, like, I'm in a very much like alcohol marker mood, which is why I'm recording this so soon after the Ike Eveland one. Otherwise, I don't know if I'll ever do this video. Even though I did mention that you guys should let me know what traditional mediums you want me to do kind of like real-time process sessions. I think one was graphite and another one was watercolor. So I'll definitely kind of find time to do both of those. Her fancy pen. It's kind of like the current process, or this is kind of like the current progress that we have currently. So, just keep chugging along, doing the inking. Could make her hair whip in front. Okay, just making sure all my lines connect where they need to connect, otherwise some of this is gonna look very funky. I also need, let's see. So some of this I'm winging it, which might be a bad idea. But hopefully when I'm doing like the base colors for her hair, I'll kind of map everything out so that I don't get too confused on what is supposed to be hair and what is supposed to be negative space, because that's probably the worst. Because she has a lot of hair. And I wanted to have it move more or less this way. My light pad is getting a little bit too warm. Trying to keep fairly similar to my line art, but I'm not too like strict about it, because I'm making some choices here and there that are not going to be the same. Liner makes me so nervous. But I feel like this is going to be kind of good practice as well, because Inktober is coming up, and I am going to be doing my OCs for that. Okay. Sometimes I color things in for line art if that looks like there's like some kind of mistake and I need to correct it. And sometimes I forget that I'm not sketching with pencil, and I don't really need to do that to fill in like value. But sometimes it's nice because a little bit of contrast can go a long way, I guess. I also thought I was going to stream more this month. Yeah. Didn't realize I was going to be as busy. So hopefully... Whoops. I'm supposed to overlap the other way. Hopefully in October I can do a little bit more. No guarantees because of our Inktober. But I think it'll be nice to do a few more since I'm still working on the OC zine. And I can work on that alongside with you guys instead. Ah, it's bad for my neck. The coloring portion won't be too bad for my posture, but this is probably the worst because I tend to get really close to the paper when I do inking. Or anything to do like with precision, which I'm not even super precise about. Almost done. I'm gonna do a few gold things with a different color, but other than that, think we're almost finished. I want her, like, her arm to be kind of behind her back. Okay. A little bit of hair left, and then I need a kind of goldish color or yellow alongside with a gray to do some of the detailings of pattern. Some other stuff. I wish I could mark these. Definitely gonna forget. But the characters that I wanted, if anyone's playing, it was the Voyager, because her design is so cute. And then I wanted Sotheby, because I love her as a character. Okay. Some areas are looking a little flat, which won't be a problem, hopefully, when I actually do the coloring portion. But we can also darken up these lines after I do the alcohol marker portion. Then I know which place needs a little bit more contrast and what needs a little bit less. As you can't tell what is hair and what isn't. Because this is this piece, this is a separate piece. I think. A little bit too confusing. But I think for the most part we have majority of her lines all done other than the patterning. So let me go ahead and grab our let me see. Could have her cape thing. Kind of open up. This way though. Okay, so let's go ahead and find two more colors. Gold and a gray. Gold or like a yellow, maybe. Guess that'll probably work. And a light gray. You could also definitely do this with like a black pen, and then for some of the patterns, if you don't want them to stand out too much, just lightly go with like a lighter pencil, a colored pencil, graphite, anything like that would definitely work as well. I can barely see this. This might be A bad idea. And she has a set of diamond patterns as well at the very bottom near with like her cape or shawl. So we'll have to go ahead and do that as well. Which I made these patterns like super large. Don't know why, because it looks a little bit inconsistent, but it's okay. I realized I probably should have picked a darker color for this because not only is it hard to see, but when I add a lot of my grays and shading, we might lose them, so this might be a bad idea. Switching to our gold or yellow color. And then this side. But I think our line art is basically finished. I might add a little seam. Unnecessary, but I kind of like adding a little bit of extra detail here and there for clothing. Yeah, I think Soneto's line art is basically finished. We can move on to actually finding a bunch of colors that we're going to be using and marking it down probably, which maybe, no, I think at the very end, I'm going to take a picture and try my best to remember what I used for what. I think I did that in a previous video, so I'll try to like block out all the colors that I use for skin, take a photo in the order that I kind of roughly use them in, and then we can just do it that way instead of having to go back and forth and marking them. Okay, hopefully you can see the line art a little bit more clearer than before, and we can remove this from our sketch. Like so. I'm just gonna stick these back on. So this is kind of the comparison, and for me, I want the lighting to come from this side, so hopefully I can keep that in mind. And we can go ahead and select some colors. Also checking to see whether or not this probably will suffice in terms of the bleed through if there is any. Actually, no, I think I do need a scrap paper. Yes, let's use this instead actually. So that I can color right up to the edge. And to get our color swatches. So let's pick her skin tone and a few of the shadow colors alongside with it. Then we'll do eyes, hair, and clothing. So let's see. Skin tone, she is on the fair side. So let's see. Last time I used, I think YR030. I'll insert a picture of what my setup looks like because this might take me a while, and I might even cut this portion out because Finding the colors takes me so long. Let's see. I also need my lightest color, which might be, we could use Primrose. It's a little yellowy. I could use grayish yellow. So Y110. Let's see, I'll grab Primrose. E0. I usually use Pale Fruit Pink as like the very lightest color. I think it's okay if I end up using the YR version. So that's Carmine Red. So this is basically our base tone. So I need RV270. I should really put all the ones I commonly use into like one batch or something. T-Rose isn't too bad. Eggshell White, Pink Flamingo. Let's see, I have these ones. Now the thing is, like, I won't be able to accurately tell you which colors I will be using. I'll just have them laid out. And most likely if I have them laid out, I will be using them regardless. It's just when I'm using them is going to be undetermined because I won't remember to show it to the camera every single time. I want R11 for shadow, so it's kind of like a purple. What else? So it's R11. R250 for slightly darker. Then I need blue. B340. Lavender Mist. Let's see, what do I have? And then I might need R25 instead. Also, I apologize if you can hear me chewing gum. Maybe I shouldn't chew gum in the video. It's also a choice. RV... No, R25. Actually, why am I still chewing gum? I just realized that. Since it is nighttime. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, R24. Which isn't too bad. Maybe we'll use that. So that might be it for skin tone. No, I need... Let's see. If we organize this. RV270. So I need something a little more orangey. Sardonyx is a little too bright. R050. Chocolate pink. R050. Right here. Okay. Because I think this section, it's a little, I'm running a little low on. But I think skin tone wise, this is good for a base, unless I need to go darker, which we might need RV200. Dark Orchid. So this might be my selection. I'll take a quick photo. Hopefully this will give you a good indication of kind of like the colors I like to use for the skin tone, if it's just like a typical fair-skinned character. And then eye color, I'm assuming it's kind of like a green. I should take off my blue light mode. So let's see, what do we have for greens? So we'll go lime green, 220. Here's lime green. Ugh. G240 beige green. It's right next to it. So I'm trying to pick a lot of like the paler greens. We can go meadow green. G9. G9. And then maybe like BG9. Yeah, maybe I'll take BG9 and Y7. Do a mixture and see if we can get like a greenish color from that. BG9. BG. This one. So I think that's for her eye color. Shadow wise, stick to like a normal gray. Color palette's on the warmer side. Maybe I'll do ash rose. Maybe a little dark. So E380. 380. E. It's gonna take me another 20 minutes to look for this goddamn color. Why? Because if not, maybe we'll go not as warm. We can go cooler. RG120 maybe? RG120. C150. 120, 120, 120. 80, RG50, RG110. Getting close. It's like a Where's Waldo? Why? RG. Here, RG120. Yeah, we'll use this for the base of your shadows of her sclera. So, skin tone, eye color. I think most people are just interested in skin tone, I think. I don't think eye color is as important. We'll see. And then hair color. Let's go into our yellows and our oranges. A little bit into our purples and browns. So, base color. How vibrant do we want to go? So I'm actually going to use 121. We'll do that for the highlights. Other than white rim lighting, I guess. I'm going to turn this to the side. What else do we have? Flax. So Y250. It's kind of like a yellowy orange, but I think it's light enough to be our base color for her hair. And then I can plan the majority of everything with this color. So Y250. Wait, am I using this color for Inktober? Wait. Sketchbook. No, I'm using Sunflower. The squeaky chair. Let's see. Why 250? Wait. This color doesn't seem real. It looks so dull. I think I have the wrong color for this. What color is this? It's so pretty. That's awkward. I don't know what color that is then. We have nugget. Mustard? Let's see. Y4. Y4 isn't bad. It's a little bright to be the base. This color is so ideal. But what are you? YR260. Where's YR260 on here? Yellowish brown. YR260. Yellowish brown's this one. It's not too bad, but I'm not in love with this color for the base. Because I feel like this is too stark of a difference. Maybe I'll grab mustard. Mustard is 130. And I'll put this one back maybe. Y130. Y130. Mustard. So I guess I'll use this to bridge our colors together. Go from yellow to orange. I like the orange color of her hair. I don't know if I want to go super bright. Because after this color, I could go apricot or peach pie. Peach pie would be good to maybe blend it. YR090. 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 So peach pie. So that's this color. Then we can go cadmium orange would be very bright, which actually don't. Yeah, let's do that. YR190. So cadmium orange for shadows. So to make it more dull, I could add purple or like a purpley blue. So I'm thinking maybe even like, I do have this color already pulled out, so we could use that. Blue gray, so MG060 would be good too. MG060 would be good. And then maybe some areas I will add some blue in, so I'll use this one as well. We'll see how it looks. And then for our clothing, so she has like I mentioned earlier, white, gray, and like kind of like a black and white and gold. So gray is definitely like a warm gray. So let me choose that really quickly. RG05. RG05. It's this one. Then the darker ones, RG08. the lighter version of that, we can go and do RG03 or WG01. Actually, I like Ash Rose though. Oh, here's Ash Rose. Wait. This is the color I was looking for before. Hopefully my markers don't fall. This is for grays. And then I can match this one as well with some of my cooler colors. Or we can do GG020. GG. GG020. I'll bring the colorless blender, because I do use it sometimes. We can do GG1 instead, maybe. GG1. Let me move some of my grays back over here. Because I can see them all shifting. GG1. Okay, here's GG1. So this is for our grays and whites. And I probably mix some of the skin tones into this to make it a little bit warmer and reflect a little bit of the skin tone and the orange back into her outfit. I will need black. This is for her ribbon and some detailing, which I think we might need a color to kind of bridge it a little bit. Because my warm grays are not dark enough, I don't think. Actually, warm gray 090. It's this one. So I'll probably use this. And then gold. Gold won't be too bad. I could probably use that flax color actually. Wherever it went. Flax. Dull yellow I already have out. And I have a bunch of oranges, so I think we are good. I'll take a quick picture and then any subsequent color. Maybe I'll just like call it out in the video. So this is her clothing. This is what I have for the basis of her hair. I might have to pull some browns actually. Let me grab Tiger Lily or Lipstick Orange. Lipstick Orange maybe. YR180. YR180. Where are you? There has to be an easier way to look for these. YR180. See, this is why I usually cut it out. Oh my god. YR. Kind of like a deep orange. YR what? Okay, here it is. Jeez. Okay. And then we have her eye color, sclera, and then the skin tone, which I already took a separate picture of. So I'll take a quick photo of these ones and then section them so you guys know what I'm using what for what. And we can start coloring because, oh Jesus, this is taking forever. Okay, hopefully that's visible. Okay, so I've zoomed in and we are going to start with the skin tone first. So kind of the base and the lightest tone is what I'm going to start off with, and then we can kind of build up. So upper right, I don't know how well this is gonna work out. So I might even forget where my light source is. I do apologize, but I didn't do a lot of planning for this other than just doing the sketch on my iPad. So we're using YR030 and Y010. I'm trying my best not to get this too splotchy. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more yellowy. It's not exactly the most optimal. It's a little dry, so I would usually use one of the more kind of pinkish colors for this portion, but I want to kind of conserve my markers because there is no refills for those ones. Doesn't look too bad, but we'll just build up some shadows here and there, and then we'll start to slowly darken things up and add a little bit more warmth to her face. I might even blend some of this color into her hair. Since her hair is orange, the skin tone won't look too terrible if it bleeds into her hair that frames her face. Just a little bit. That way we can kind of keep the face a little bit more like illuminated and a little bit lighter. So right away, let's darken up this area. So this is RV200. I'm switching to chocolate pink, so R050. I do apologize if this is going to sound very weird in the video. I'll try my best to like see if I can see the color and like put it on the screen. Otherwise, I might be doing a lot of guessing. But I'm using this, which is kind of more of a saturated peach color, or almost like an orange color, to plan out some areas of where I want the shadow to be. And then we can layer our purples and our blues to make it a little bit more intense. Back to our base color. Blur it out a little bit. And then moving on kind of down our line from the initial kind of photo that I took to give it more of a pink and cool tone. So I'm using R11 or Mauve Shadow. I do like adding purple to my shadows for skin tone, because it gives it a little bit more of a cooler shadow compared to the skin tone, because I tend to make skin tones very warm. Starting off with a little bit more of like a yellowier base compared to more of like a pink base, I guess. And that's just kind of like preference. After that, moving down the line, I am going to test out our lavender mist, which I might have to blur out again with a bit of the purple. Or if you have a brush tip like this, you can kind of just flick it for more of a softer look. I'm using this for a more like intense shadow in areas that need it to be a little bit deeper, so I don't want to overdo it. But I think this helps, and I think it'll look nice next to the orange of her hair. I think that's the only place that has skin showing, so I can probably just stay up here for majority of this. Kind of want to block in a tiny bit more for where her nose is. Kind of like the bridge. A little bit of R11. Okay, so I think that might be it for the skin tone. It's very simple, and she doesn't have too much skin showing anyway, so it's mostly just her face anyways. So for her eyes, I did choose, let's see, which one of these? So these ones were for her skin. I think we're using this for the shadows, which is why it's good to have a scratch pad. We can kind of do the sclera. And sometimes I do like adding a little bit of a different color into it if I can. Not sure if that was the right call. Usually a purple works nicer. I'm kind of just like outlining a portion of it, and then we can make it blend upwards a little bit. Okay, for eye color, we're starting with our lightest, which I'm using is lime green, which, like I mentioned, I don't think people care too much about this kind of coloring portion. I always get questions on what kind of colors I use for the skin. So for her, what color do I want to add to the upper eyelid? A purple could be cute. So I might need one more color. Or we could use blue, maybe. I don't know how dark we're going with her eyes. And then we slowly build up. Add a little bit to her eye line here with the kind of mid-tone green. Going a little bit cooler, a little darker, and then we'll add our darkest colors at the very end. Because our eyes are looking very orangey. And this way. Kind of like the edges of the eyes as well. And I think this will depend obviously on your style. I just picked up a habit of doing the sides or like my outlines of my irises to be a little bit looser and a little open to allow more color in. And I'm kind of wanting to make her lash line a little darker. So maybe, because dull yellow is not dark enough, maybe fennel seed, so E450. I really didn't want to look for a color in the middle of coloring because it takes me so long. Okay, not too bad. Because the upper portion of where the iris is, I usually like making it a little darker to kind of make that little strip at the very top a little bit brighter. Kind of gives it a little bit more of a glassy feel. And then adding this on top of our line work. Help tie everything in as well. So both this one and the Ike Evelyn one, alongside with some of the other videos that I've done, will show like the full process of me working on an alcohol marker drawing like this. So if this is something you want me to do more frequently, I will try my best to. Okay. Okay, intimidating part is the hair because I need to do a little bit of planning. So I chose this color, Primrose or Y121, to kind of plan out the highlights. So let's see how I can do this. Keep in mind, this is where the highlights I'm going to be working with. So I want to leave some with the actual straight up white. And then some I will use kind of this color. But I don't want to add it too many places. Just kind of initial planning of where some of the light will hit. And then hopefully we have enough contrast with the orange to make sure that it doesn't look too flat by having a lot of these areas kind of blocked in by this yellow color. You can see that I got a little bit of water here, which kind of reactivated the water-based markers a little bit, but it did not affect my alcohol markers. Like, my alcohol markers didn't affect the actual... What am I saying? Also, I made a mistake. It's okay. But finishing that thought, the water reactivates my line art, but the alcohol markers don't, which is perfect for what I need them to do. So kind of like on tests, definitely see if your water-based markers can also be used with your alcohol markers, because I find it helpful if you can have a variety of different colors to make it like a softer look for some of your pieces. Yeah, I'm getting confused. Some areas are getting covered by yellow and they probably don't need to be. But I think that's probably good for the majority of this side. Everything else probably will be with the orange and or white as the highlight. So I'm using Y4. And hair for me will take a lot of layering, so this make me feel a little bit more intimidated. Also, music-wise, I'm listening to Animal Crossing lo-fi cafe music with rain. Just something comfy and cozy. I feel like I should zoom out, actually. That way. I'm gonna see more of Soneto's hair. Also, I don't know how to explain this. If you hear like my voice kind of like dip in and out, sometimes I'm facing away from the mic because I'm looking at my viewfinder or my OBS screen. So I do apologize if there's like a difference every time I swivel my head back and forth. Okay, and I'm gonna need that peach color. Is it this one? I think it's this one. To blend out my orange a little bit. Some of these areas might look super flat for now, but once we add in our other colors and shadows, I think it will kind of put everything in their perspective. I think I actually want more highlights up here. I'll bring this down a little bit more. We can blur it out with whatever skin tone you're using. Some areas I won't cover with this orange just to conserve the marker a little bit, because I feel like I will be covering it a lot with other oranges anyways. So it feels like I will be wasting the marker if I'm just covering up existing color, unless I feel like the layering is necessary. But some areas I will add just because it will act as like the lightest color for some of the darkest areas. So even if I'm blending this out with her skin tone, I'll go back in and add some of the darker oranges to make the shadows. Okay, so to kind of plan this out, this will be in shadow, this will be on the kind of top surface, so I will add a nice little layer of orange. I've been getting a little bit more comfortable using alcohol markers, so I won't think I'll do any ambitious pieces, but it would be fun to play around with some other characters that I don't think I've done color palettes for, because having such a large marker selection with this set, I want to be able to use more of the markers. Also, I was trying my best not to turn the paper too much, but I have to. Just a better angle for coloring some of these areas in. So I think compared to the Ike one, I don't have like super dramatic lighting, but I think it'll still work out in the end. So it's kind of like a darker, brighter orange, which sometimes using just kind of works out near the edges of my shadows. And I'll probably use this to blend out any colors that I need, since it's a little bit more vibrant and it's like a little bit of a shift in color. Kind of works out nicely for what I need. Also, by the way, if you're doing this kind of method or like color scheme that I'm using, it doesn't work for everything. So like obviously if you have different lighting, some purple and blue shading might not work the best. So you're gonna have to tailor it to whatever you need, but I feel like this works pretty well if you're just doing like very standard lighting on just a normal kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a simple lighting, I guess. Not super dramatic or anything, requiring more shadows and other color variation, I guess. But I guess it's like also to catering towards your style as well. Do I want to make this all dark? I kind of want to break this up, but maybe not. I feel like I colored in some of the wrong areas again. It's okay. Okay, let's do... if you guys can see what I'm doing. And then we have this upper portion. I highly recommend looking up some of the artwork and character designs for Reverse 1999. I absolutely adore it. And I feel like it's a nice change of pace from like having too much fantasy. I mean, this is also fantasy, but it's like grounded on like actual reality as well. So they have very normal looking designs for some of the characters. But the way the artist does like folds and hair, I absolutely adore. I would love to do like more of a deep dive or study into it eventually, but not anytime soon. I just want to enjoy the game for what it is. But I think it's like very beautiful. It's like very painterly in a way. So I think I will layer up darker oranges for the back of her hair. So I won't use this one, just to conserve more on the... would you consider this ink? I guess it is marker ink. But I want to conserve a little bit, so I don't want to overdo it. I think we're looking good. I don't even remember which one's the darker one. I want to say it's cadmium is the lighter one. cadmium versus lipstick orange. Yeah, lipstick orange is darker, so we'll start with cadmium. I could have just swatched them instead. I don't know why I was looking at that. So this will kind of depend. Some people like doing more of like sharper lines for hair, and some people like to really blend it out. So sometimes when I'm doing the band right under the highlights, I like to leave them a little bit more scratchy and add a little bit more texture by making them a little bit more sketchy. But sometimes like certain areas I will just like blend out completely to make it have like a softer look. This area I forgot. I was gonna make a little bit softer. I should have mentioned this at the very beginning, but if you're doing Inktober, let me know what you're doing for Inktober, like prompt-wise or theme, or if you're just doing like a 30-day challenge. Actually, I kind of want to add some of the darker areas. Let's see if I can find a darker purple maybe, because I don't know if I like that. Like for some of these areas, I probably should have added the blue in earlier, or like the purple, but now I'm unsure what it would look like. It's a little dark and muted. I mean, some of these areas I can definitely add the bluish purple in a little bit. But I don't really want to overdo it. Just in case it looks too out of place. I feel like a purple blue would work better. One that's not quite like this one. Actually, if I build up more the color, I actually think it will look kind of nice. So this is Lavender Mist. Aquamarine B140. Because I can kind of see the blue peeping out. I get a blue color. See if I can shift it. Even like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm gonna kind of mess around to see what I like. I'll add it like more of a final touch, because I don't know if this is gonna actually work out the way that I want it to. So let's go back to cadmium orange. Because my oranges are all a little bit too similar. Whoops, kind of go into her skin. Let's see. I feel like when I'm coloring like this, I don't talk a lot anyways. So maybe I should have just added purples instead. Trial and error. So V050 might be a better choice. Either way, it kind of looks a little dull. So maybe I'll mark it with the purple and then add the blue. Because the blue gives it almost like a slightly bluish, yellowy, no, what am I saying? A bluish greenish tinge to it, which I think has a little bit of a better contrast compared to the purple. Maybe. Not sure if I'm liking it. So let's see, whatever color could I add? 280 or 280? No, V280. I think. Or garnet, maybe. 240. Kind of like a reddish purple instead. Whoops. Kind of like the reddish purple. Maybe I'll add this for all the intense shadows first. Because everything else was making everything look too muddy. So I think a reddish purple would work the best, which I should have stuck with my gut and not really added the blues all like willy-nilly into every area. I feel like I ruined her. I still don't mind the blue as much. Maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm like trying to make myself like it more. So let's see. Adding a little bit of depth. A little bit of the purple. A lot of these areas are going to need kind of more help with the line art. Actually, the purple doesn't look too bad. What the heck have I been doing? Maybe it's because I only added the shadows to certain areas that it looked really out of place. Because right now I don't think it looks too awful. Maybe I'm coping. I can't tell. Cadmium orange. I'm using like a reddish orange to do some of these parts to help separate a little bit of this flatter orange area. I definitely kind of screwed up her hair quite a bit. This is why usually, if I can, planning stuff out usually works out better. So you're not in this weird conundrum trying to guess what colors works best. Because a color comp would have helped with this, and then I would have eyeballed the colors a little bit more easily, rather than taking a guess whether or not certain colors would show up better and a little bit less green. It's okay, I guess it's like more of a learning moment. Still need a lot more contrast here. Using kind of the red to blend out the purple that I'm using to do some of the shadows here. Did I kind of scrap her hair? Probably. Is that okay? Also, probably. Adding these in slightly more areas. Okay, and then cadmium orange again. And I might quickly do some of the whites for the ribbons. With a little bit of a different purple. Hopefully I can still see, I kind of can, some of the purple. Or not the purple, the gray with the purple. And then quickly look up her outfit a little bit. So I want to do some of the whites. I might go back and forth for the hair, but I might not touch it after this. We'll see. There's still, actually, let me try to fill out some of the areas that need more contrast still. Actually, let's see. This is garnet. It's a little bit intense, so I could go R280. Yeah, I think this will work better. I think like any color would have worked better at this point. So many mistakes with the hair. Okay, so I think we're just gonna take a break from the hair and see if I have to come back to it or not. So I'm not totally in love with it and this weird negative space here, unless I need to break it up. Because there's no negative space because I kind of made this too small and then I lost a gap here. But let's move on to her clothing. So let's get our grays out and try to mix up some nice colors for the white. And then we can do the rest of her clothing afterwards. And then I think she'll be done because I don't know if I'll touch up the hair as much as I did already. I need to stop. Maybe I'll add a little bit here. Okay. Let's do the gold portion actually first. She has like small gold accessories. This, add a tad bit of orange. A little bit of yellow. And then a dark color. Then I do have to go back in and darken this up a little bit. I usually do this at the end of after I applied all the shadows to the white areas, but it's okay. Just a small indication. Okay, so let's add very basic kind of shadows here. What did I use last time? Kind of something like this. A super light kind of purple to kind of get started. And you kind of have to bleed it out a little bit. So I'm gonna add, sometimes I use yellow, sometimes I use a peach color. Any color that you want, and then this kind of acts as our base, and then we can add other colors. Like more of a peachy tone. Same thing, so add our purple. Add any greenish grays into here. So this might seem a little bit intense, but I do like adding a bunch of different colors for the whites of clothing. And slowly blend them out. I don't think I did a very good example on the one I did of Ike. me make this a little darker. Add that dark gray green. Let's see, she also has white gloves. And I forgot buttons. Which we'll do our gray color first, I think. So I don't usually use the green and purple like this. I tend to use purples and blues and then bleed in our peachy colors on it, but I'm kind of liking this color combo a little bit. And then I guess her pen has a lot of beautiful pinks and purples in it. Add in bluish purple to here. Then I need like a light, bright kind of pink color. R22. Isn't too bad. And then we need to darken up. I want like a really bright dark purple. V210. So this is why it's hard for me to keep track of what colors I've used for what, because I tend to pull a lot of colors afterwards anyways. It's a little too dark. V270. Hey, let's do more of the white areas, which is kind of like the chest part, I guess, of her outfit. Lighter purple. So the kind of like crisscrosses here are going to be in black, and then the little circles are going to be more like buttons. But they're going to still be black, so I don't really mind going too messy where I'm placing this. Kind of a shadow where her hand is. I want the lighter peach color, I guess. I don't know what else to talk about while I'm doing this. Felix Purse is a little bit on the boring side. Then ladder yellow. Same thing on this side. I think okay, so the brooch looking things here, they do have a design, but I don't really want to add them in. I don't have the patience for it. So I'll need this to be a bit thicker, so I need to add its own shadow. Like, looks too bad. Okay, so she's looking a little funny because I didn't do her brows. And then we have our grays. So I'm going to start off with our mid-tone first. She does have like little star designs everywhere. I don't know if I'll add them in. Let's see. I could kind of like blotch them in. And then right here, so I forgot this is also gold. quickly color this in. A little bit of orange. Reflecting a little bit of that yellow into the pen as well. Yeah, let's do... Nope, I still missed some gold areas. What's this areas too? Okay, now we can do some of the gray areas. And then we'll do black last, probably. I keep forgetting certain areas. Inside of here is kind of like a pink. Nope, not that color. This color, like a mauve pink. I feel like this is still the wrong color. This one. As well as in here. Then the gray. So this might be this color, I think. Not gonna be the cleanest, but it's okay. We'll add this as the base and then we'll add our shadows. Let's see what we need to add after. I have no idea how long this session's gonna be. It's probably gonna be like 3 hours-ish. Maybe 4 hours, I do apologize. Which is why I feel like I should cut down the footage. So I did forget this area too. So this and that green. Green, gray. Yeah, using alcohol markers, I feel like if you don't really have a system, low-key a nightmare. This is white, so it's gonna go around it. I might even use the chisel tip for this. Slightly more even application. What green gray was I using? It was this flax color instead. What was this one? It's more like bluish, but it kind of works out because then I can add a little bit of shadow there and then darken up our sleeve. Which for clothing, sometimes I just do the simple thing is that I add a dark color near the rim lighting or the edge of our shape and then blend it out, and I feel like it works out usually. And similar to here, so that same nice gray color. And her sleeves are white, so I did the same thing where I probably should have done her sleeves first. Or not the sleeves, the cuffs. A little bit of a fold here. So this is why I feel like a super long session doesn't really work. There's so many like pauses, unless you guys don't mind. There's like big breaks of no talking in between. More shadows. making this entirely dark because I feel like it would really get hit by the light too much because of her hair. And then here's also white. Okay, so last but not least is probably the black areas. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose our black. So these are black buttons. And then our ribbons here, or whatever you want to call this portion. So I'm leaving some gaps here because I'm going to add a dark gray to kind of make it look a little bit shiny. I'm always surprised how dark this color is, considering the cap's so bright. Okay, and then I'll do black for the ones that are like completely in shadow. And the rest will be kind of with the dark gray. Then we're going to spruce up everything with a little bit of darker line work because the orange is quite light. Once I finish this kind of portion, I might even pull out like the dark purple or the dark blue to do some of these areas. Okay. Ooh, I don't want to accidentally screw up the pattern, so let's fill in our dark gray. The nib on this marker is a little bit soft. I don't know if it's because I overused it, but the black one's a little bit more crisp. I feel like I butchered her. I'll definitely see if I can make the sketch into like a digital version. Ooh. No one can see that. It's okay. I colored on the wrong ones. And then this side. Let's see what else did I miss. I guess it's down here. And then down here as well. So this is black, this would be black. We'll do the rest in our dark gray. Is it this one? No, it is not. It's this one. Already over. Actually, don't know if this is the same marker. I feel like this is a little darker. That's fine. I think for the most part, Sonata is done. Is this my favorite? Probably not, but it still looks kind of cute. There's definitely some areas I want to continue to kind of darken. But I'm sure some line art will help a little bit. Put a little bit more contrast in some of these areas. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over to some darker line art, and then I think Sonata will be done. So let's go ahead and clean up a little bit. And putting away some of these. I do some of my dailies. I'm still like early into the game, so I don't really know team comps or anything. So if anyone's watching and it's like, why are you using those characters? I just like them. That's probably the only reason. Just popping everything back into... Oops, I wasn't really thinking about which way they're facing. I usually like to make sure that they face with the brush tip facing down, or like towards the container. Okay. I feel like I can make them look a little bit better, by darkening up some of the line art around her eyes. Green. This one's more like a gray. Same with this one. Okay, so I'm bringing, oops, punch the mic. I'm bringing back these so that we can pick probably maybe a dark purple. And we can just start to darken up some of these little areas to make things stand out a little bit more easily and have a little bit more contrast. I didn't really do this with the Ike piece. Just because I think the lines and just the color palette was a little bit on the lighter side. But it didn't really need it. But for some, that's how I think it needs a little bit of help, because maybe I just don't like the piece that much. I think that already helps a lot for her eyes. So I'll probably put a little bit near the highlight. See, it kind of helps a lot. I think I did this for some previous pieces. But like I mentioned, I didn't do it for the Ike one. But I like the idea of being able to pick what stands out and what doesn't need to be stood out from the line art, which is kind of nice having that ability to do kind of like a lighter line art initially and then doing a darker one afterwards. I think it works the best on the face just because things are a lot softer, so making certain things stand out a little bit just gives it enough contrast. I did have those reddish browns earlier, or like the reddish color and the reddish brown color for the line art, but I feel like this kind of purple just works out nicely. It's just dark enough to stand out. You can kind of see I'm not like filling in lines per se. I'm kind of darkening up a lot of my corners and the places where I would deem me kind of giving a little bit more line width variation and line just like, you know, making it look a little less flat. It just helps push things a little bit further back to separate some areas a little bit more, which I quite like. So I do it quite often in my digital pieces too. Especially if I'm doing like a sketch page, sometimes all I do is clean up the face a little bit and then add in some darker line art for some areas so that they appear a little bit more clean than they actually are. Because if I outline everything, it might be a little bit too distracting. But you could argue also me just selectively placing certain darker areas might be distracting to some people. I like kind of like the minimal contrast. And it's a little bit less tedious this way. So every so often I will be looking through my OBS and like my viewfinder. Because sometimes I get a little bit of tunnel vision when I'm working on these. As we're approaching the end, I'm going to reiterate, do let me know if you like these types of longer real-time formatted videos, or if you prefer them to be edited down, because I don't mind making these sessions maybe into half an hour, or I'll just do like voiceover over top of them instead of doing real-time talking. We'll see. See what your guys' preference is and what I can manage as well. Because ASMR makes it a little bit easier for me because I can put almost all my full attention onto it because I don't have to speak or talk. I was gonna do Kinich. Kinich? I don't know how to say his name. I still have to play the Archon quest, and I always forget how to say his name. But I do have him now. So I would like to do fan art of him eventually. AKA the Dendro Pixel Boy from Genshin Impact. Might make it an ASMR session, we'll see. Like I mentioned, I do apologize. I don't like doing a full week of traditional art usually for my videos, just because I know some people are only here for the digital work, but I feel like I wouldn't have done this at all if it wasn't for this week, just because I did have a little bit more of a fun time doing the Ike piece. But I'll definitely do like a graphite one soon, because graphite's still one of my favorite mediums to work with. And I'll show you like a mini exercise that I used to do back in my uni days during like some of my drawing courses, because I didn't realize that the way that I do some pencil work is a little bit different. Not super, but I always do a lot of like soft gradients in my work. And I remember teaching a classmate how I was like mentally preparing myself, because I like to use like little pressure and like bring it up to the certain darkness or value that I want it to be. But when I was working on doing, I forget what it's called, what kind of printmaking. It's the one with the gigantic like stones. I don't know what the stones are called. But you have to grind down, and then you can use like acid solutions and stuff to, or like wax pencils to eat away at the surface. But apparently there's like no real undo button for that, so I did a lot of like practicing and like mental exercises on how I wanted to do a lot of those softer shadings on something like that. And my classmate or like my friend, she wasn't able to do it. I'm like, am I not explaining this in a way that makes a lot of sense? Maybe it's just like the way how my brain interprets it. But being able to do like small gradients is helpful, I think, to get like full range of your pencil. I just like knowing what is like the most dark that I could work with and what was like the least amount of pressure that I could put. I also missed an area here. It'll make sense a little bit more, I think, when I do the graphite video. I hope. I've definitely talked about it quite a bit of times in the past, but it'll be nice to do a refresher. And it's nothing's like super mind-blowing or anything. It's literally just doing like a mini value scale in one go. And I do this for like any dry mediums that I work with to see like what range I'm working with. I think she's actually looking super pretty now. She's not too butchered anymore. I hope. If anyone's playing Reverse 1999, let me know your favorite character. Because I really like Sotheby and I like Voyager. Obviously Regulus too, because she's just a fun character, but probably even after today's session. I'm gonna see if I can catch up on the Archon quest, and then I can play more story on the Reverse 1999. I was telling my brother that it felt like this is my FGO, because I don't play FGO or like any turn-based card games really, other than like Tears of Femus, which like I feel like rarely counts. But this one feels a little bit more similar. So basically, me not filling in all the line art with this darker pencil or whatever, this pen, I guess, your brain kind of fills in a lot of the rest of the details anyways. So it's not super needed. Also, I switched music. The Animal Crossing one was nice, but there was a lot of like silent where it was just like rain and just like the little characters' foot noises. So I switched it to going back to listening to Day 6 because I don't know. I miss listening to their music a lot. I kind of wish I made this darker. I mean, nothing's stopping me from going back and just trying to fix it and touch it up a little bit. So maybe I will. Okay, I'm definitely disliking this one a lot less now. Kind of glad. Because I definitely think the contrast was definitely needed. Like 100%. Otherwise, I think I would have just disliked this one. Like a heck of a lot. Which makes me sad because I did like the sketch anyways. See, the letter areas I don't really need to do. I'm hoping D6 comes to Canada for the world tour. I already went ahead and bought me and my friends like their light bands. Because I didn't know if both my friends would be down to going to a D6 concert. So it's nice to know that they are. Okay, I think we are basically take one quick look at my OBS to see if there's any area that I think is a little bit lacking, and then we can go ahead and fix it up a little bit. I mean, this looks out of place. Okay. I kind of want to add a little bit of shadow on her face, actually. So let's bring back one of my purples, maybe R11. It's quite light. Okay. The reason I'm doing that is because I mentioned earlier that the collar is supposed to be over her face a little bit. So I wanted to make sure that was right. I also want to darken this slightly. So, don't know how dark this is. It's fairly dark. this back. I don't remember what colors I used. Okay, I think it might be good. Are there anything else? Maybe even here. A little bit more contrast. Sometimes having solid line art just helps make sense in your brain what the heck you're coloring. But I think that is it. So I'm going to put these back and we'll do a quick overview. So this is kind of like the close-up of her. But this is, okay, so this is kind of like the finished piece for Sonetto, or Sonetto. Sonetto? I guess is how you say it. So this is the backing sheet that I was using earlier, which I was using mostly for the borders because, like I said, this paper is actually pretty good with holding, I guess, like holding up with the ink of the alcohol markers. There's some places that got really saturated, but for the most part, yeah, I think overall really like this piece. Like I mentioned earlier, if you haven't, I did do the full process of this one as well, minus the inking portion, so it's a little bit probably of a shorter session, but I did like this one too. I think it looks cute, and I guess it didn't have as many problems as this one, but this one looks still really pretty in my print, like still looks really pretty in my opinion. Now I can't talk, but hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me work on this entire piece, and let me know if you guys want more traditional mediums where I do more of like a full process video like this. And depending on how I edit this video, I might keep it at like full length with like kind of like minor cuts here and there, or I will split it up and maybe reduce it to an hour and try my best to show as much as of the process that I do for like any of my traditional medium drawings. And I think that's it for today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching today's video. Thank you for coming along with me and working on Sonetto with me. If you were drawing along, please let me know what you were drawing down below, or if you're just like chilling and resting, that's fine too. So I'll talk to you guys next time in the next video. Bye!